Morning, friends. Pastor Al, Friday, April 25th. After Jesus' resurrection, um, people started seeing him, and the word started coming back to the 11 and the other believers. But they had a hard time believing that. They saw Jesus had died. Many of them saw probably where he was buried. And yet, when the women went on the day of resurrection, came back and said, the tomb is empty. And then the angels started, had told the women, he's not here, and so on. The word kept coming back to the other disciples and other believers, and they didn't believe it. You can kind of understand that, something so amazing when you see someone had died, and now the next day or a few days later, they say, no, he's alive. We've seen him. In Gospel of Mark, chapter 16, a couple different accounts it gives. It says, Mary Magdalene, Jesus first appeared to her, and she came back and told the believers he was alive. And it says they did not believe it. Mark 16:11. And then it says, kind of was Jesus was walking in the country, and he came upon two of them as they were walking. And once they realized it was Jesus, now we read that full account in the Gospel of Luke and the Emmaus walk, they came back and reported to the rest and said, but they did not believe them. And so they had a hard time overcoming their unbelief in those moments. In verses 14, says Mark chapter 16:14, later Jesus appeared to the 11 as they were eating. He rebuked them for their unbelief, not believing the stories that came through and came to them. And he rebuked them for their stubborn refusal to believe those who had seen and witnessed that he had risen. Maybe you've been in a place like that where it's just hard to believe that story, hard to believe that really happened, some event, something that, somebody witnessed, or some experience they had, that they were healed, and it's a miracle to give God the glory. But you have a hard time believing that because, it just seems too good to be true. But here's the thing. Jesus rebuked them, but he didn't give up on them. The next verse, in verses 15, he said, go into all the world and preach the good news. You got a job to do. Get out there and get doing it, And that's true for us today. Maybe we get hung up on one part of Jesus' story that we have a hard time accepting or believing. Get over it. Trust that Jesus is the risen Christ, the Savior, the Son of God, and he wants you to go into the world. He wants you to share the good news of Jesus Christ wherever you go. I've talked too long today. Have a blessed day and a blessed weekend, my friends.